If you're not living out in Greater Vancouver or probably Toronto, you should be thankful, because if you turn on the radio, turn on the television, read the newspapers, a huge percentage of the stories talk about high-priced real estate in a very confused manner, I might add. They don't make a distinction between entry-level buyers and the upper end of the market. There's a big list of what they don't do, and of course they're all demanding government do something as if they've got a magic lever. I kind of imagine so many people, so many voters think that there's a curtain like the Wizard of Oz and they have to just pull the meter the right way and something's going to happen. At some point, the failure of that thought process is going to occur. All you have to do is look at Europe for that one. But we got a big survey out this week from the provincial government saying, look, the numbers of Asian buyers, principally from China, says that, it's not a very big percentage, about 3%. I wanted to talk to Ozzie Jurek about that. Ozzie, what did you think when you heard those kind of numbers?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. They talked about it at the Asian conference last week, and a lot of agents were there, of course, and everybody raises their eyebrows. I mean, 3% of all of our buyers come from Asia. Yes, is that true? I mean, look at Langley's 40% increase in house prices in 1 year. That was all driven by the locals, all of a sudden like mad, trading with each other. It just doesn't make sense. Yeah. So two Westside agents, they said at least 50% of the detached sales in their offices were to buyers backed by Chinese funding. But Mike, in any case, the crux of the impact on BC's housing market isn't the buyer's address. By having the buyer's address, look, Tina Mack, who's the chairman of the Vancouver chapter of the Asia Real Estate Association of America, said that many wealthy Asian buyers wish to conceal their wealth and assets anyhow. And in Vancouver, it's quite easy for a foreign national to use a proxy, perhaps a relative or a business joint venture partner. Even large investment funds can be legally transferred from free trade zones in Shanghai or Hong Kong directly into Canadian banks. So everybody was agreed that at least the number that was quoted was 10 times higher than what we had based on just the addresses.
Especially in specific neighborhoods. It's a bit misleading when you look at the province as a whole, because, they're probably not up in 100 Mile House. They're not up in Vernon. No, the thing is that there's been a concentration of, and I think you're absolutely right, Ozzie, in high-priced homes. So you start in Vancouver, because I think they're completely off the mark when they say it's speculation. It's not. I mean, there is that flipping and the shadow flipping. That's on the realtor side. But when you talk about the investment market, no, they're storing their wealth here. They're coming. They want their money out of China, and they want to store the wealth here. And that's, again, understanding that is why on Money Talks, we've been very clear that that was a phenomenon about to happen. But let me ask you something like in another official government agency. I mean, I think the CMHC also reports the 3% number.
Yeah, that's why it's so confusing. I think CMHC is always quoted, but I think what CMHC is quoting, that 3% of our housing stock in Vancouver is owned by Asians. That's totally different than saying it's 3% of the sales. But the key is this. When you look around the world, in China, we now have one of the largest Chinese foreign property search engines. Just for fun, dear listener, go to UYJUWAI.com. And guess what? You see 6,000 listings there from BC. Clearly, you can see what kind of real estate is being pitched to a Chinese investor.
That's JUWAI.com. Yeah, very interesting stuff when you do that. I got to come back on this something here, Ozzie. Now you've got, again, the public is saying, do something. They don't really care which. And again, it's as if there's some magic, policy wand they can wave. But now you got the city of Vancouver pushing the provincial government out in British Columbia to approve a tax on empty houses. Again, what's your take on that?
Well, I'm absolutely bewildered. I mean, this tax plan is a warning on how bizarre government intervention can really become. I mean, you make that point all the time. That when you're faced with it, that you just can't believe it. I mean, yes, as you point out, everybody wants the government to do something, but this could affect the whole Canadian market scene, because the pressure from the voters now wants this insane and unworkable idea to place a tax on vacant homes. The theory is that the owners of the 10,000 vacant homes in the city of Vancouver could be taxed. Now, look at it. The way it would work would be that many absentee owners would either pay the tax rather than deal with short-term rentals, But the vacancy numbers are based on measuring hydro use. I mean, I suggest a couple of timers to turn lights on or off would become very popular if this dumb idea gains traction.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it's got nothing to do with affordability, nothing to do with the high price at the upper end. But it's a great, just a great example. Just one quick thing before I ask you some hot properties. It is interesting to me how it absolutely gets, for all the discussion of this, I haven't heard anyone discuss private property rights. So they're telling me, if they push through on this, that I can own something and I'm going to have to live it in a certain number of days a year. I mean, the government's now going to decree on my own private property what I can do in terms of usage. So if I want to, I don't know what, they haven't given us the details. Is it going to be 6 months vacant? That's the problem. 8 months, 10 months, a year. But it's telling me I can't go on sabbatical for a year, for example, or I can't go into the warm desert sun for 6 months of the year. I mean, it's amazing how we just come to accept that government has the rights on our own private property.
Yeah, and you're totally right. I imagine if we were being asked, all the Vancouverites that have properties in Palm Springs and all over the United States, they're being asked to now pay a tax on the absentee owner. There have to be better ways.
Yeah, I hear you. Hey, how about a couple of hot properties? Put a smile on my face before we go.
Well, actually, with all these high-priced properties, we really made an effort this week to find low-priced ones. And we found in Kimberley a one-bedroom unit right on the Mountain Edge Resort. It's an older unit, but it's fully furnished. You've got good views of the Rocky Mountains. Imagine, fully serviced and right on the hill. 63,000, Mike. It's
wow.
3,150 down and 290 per month, and you really have beaten the rental game. Now, there's a couple of other problems. We found a three-bedroom, two-bathroom house, single-family home, comfortable living, low maintenance, but an older home, 169.9.
You know, Kimberly is such a beautiful area. I know you ski there on such a regular basis. Just an absolutely beautiful area, and also suffering, of course, because we're probably not getting near as many Albertan buyers into that region at this point, because I'm looking at the Calgary housing market and assuming you're not still getting that big rush. So maybe some great deals out there.
No question about it. And the other thing that people have to remember, everything, the rising tide raises all ships. The Okanagan is booming. The Kootenays are now booming. Guess what? I'm in Kimberley just a couple of days now. There's new businesses everywhere. There's a total new area there. Our Thai homes say they're busier than ever. So it's moving throughout the province.
Great stuff, Ozzie. Go out and have a terrific weekend. And for those of you who like that area in Kimberley, you ain't seen nothing till you see Ozzie coming down the hill in the Lederhosen. That is a sight. That's a bucket list sight. Thanks, Ozzie. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for having me, Mike. Just remember, last week I hit an eagle and a birdie and an elk and a moose.
Ozzie Jurek.